This is the man,
Lies.
the myth, the legend, Boris Johnson. Now, of course, Boris Johnson, for those of you who don't know, is a Tory cunt piece of shit, nonce, obviously. Just as is the case, as is tradition, of course. You need to do a little bit of noncery in order to be a Tory. Obviously, it's like, what do your politicians do in the state of Florida? Florida Oblast. They get a DUI. Well, in the UK, you need to either have sexual intercourse with a pig or with a child. Yes, that is right. So basic Tory things, of course. The more noncery you engage in, the higher level you have, and you become a lord eventually. Very nice. Regardless, Boris Johnson, on the other hand, does have, I do have sympathetic points of view towards Boris, considering not his noncery, of course, but the fact that he is of Ottoman descent. That's right. Boris Johnson is an Ottoman. He's doing a fifth column style takeover of the UK, and actually is going to bring about the Islamic Caliphate to the true successor, the Ottoman Empire. Yes, very nice. All right, let's continue. Here is Boris Johnson. By the way, for anyone who says, well, you could be sued for this. Yeah, except like, you know, he was fucking homies with Ghislaine Maxwell and probably piped her in college and hung out with Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell. So, you know, not that crazy for me to say things like this, especially because, once again, it is the culture of the Tories to do noncery. Okay? Yeah, Boris Johnson, you know. Boris Johnson, friends with Ghislaine Maxwell, and also a Tory. So, not all that surprising that he's engaged in maybe perhaps a little bit of noncery.
Of Boris Johnson, from the day he was born to the day he became Prime Minister. June 1964. Alexander Boris de Pfeffel Johnson is born in New York. His earliest recorded ambition is to become World King. 1982. In a letter to Johnson's father...
Bro, this motherfucker was ugly as shit even as a baby, dude. This is one of those instances where you're like, throw the whole baby away, okay? This didn't take. You know what I mean? You have a whole ass child and he's got this dog shit haircut. You're going to be like, all right, nah, fuck it, dude. Nope, didn't take. Gotta try again.
An Eton schoolteacher writes of the 17-year-old Boris Johnson.
Look
He
at this
sometimes
fucking
seems
idiot.
affronted when criticised for what amounts to a gross failure of responsibility, and surprised at the same time that he was not appointed captain of the school for the next half. I think he honestly believes that it is churlish of us not to regard him as an exception, one who should be free of the network of obligation that binds everyone else.
1983. Johnson becomes a leading member of Oxford University's male-only Bullingdon Club. During his tenure, the club's members indulge in sexist taunting, vandalism, restaurant trashing, bullying and ritual humiliation of the poor. One recruiter for the club...
Dude, I love that, dude. That's so British to be like, yes, we engage in a bit of... We're having a little bit of a rout, you know, fancy. We loved to taunt the working poor, of course.
Vandalism, restaurant trashing, bullying and ritual humiliation of the poor.
Pleb taunting. One of the most like I think like one of the most disgusting examples that where like a caste system is so apparent and so visible. It's a little bit different than like, I would go so far as to say it's a little bit different than like America, where like the American small business tyrants love LARPing as the working class. Right? They love LARPing as the working class, and like they don't do this level of like transparent, like fuck the poor type behavior. Whereas, of course, in the UK, the elitist, partially because they have like, you know, lordship still and they have the monarchy, openly show their disdain for the working poor on a regular basis. It's really interesting to see. Like, it's not... You normally don't see this sort of stuff, I think, in America to this degree. Like, obviously, you have horrific disdain for the homeless. And certainly, like, the American bourgeois are not fans of the working class in general. But it's never this aggressively brazen, open. Like, it bears itself it bears itself in policies. It bears itself in the attitude we have towards... What is this? Felix calling you out? I think it's cool for men to have some type of jewelry, like a watch, like pinky rings and all that are way too much for me. But when you look at what women get with expensive bags, the marriage of semi-practicality and swag, it's enough to make you jealous. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. It's because the working class is more controlled in America. Why do people feed such parasites? Because we have peasant mindset. Why do Americans fancy themselves to be temporarily embarrassed millionaires? Why do the British very openly fucking suck off the monarchy? It's because there is abso-fucking-lutely a peasant brain, like epigenetic memory unlocked in the minds of so many fucking people that come from a long line of peasantry that turn around and go, no, my lord, it's actually good. It's actually good, my lord. Someone needs to take care of all this power. Someone needs to control everything, my lord. That's the way that Americans operate, and that's exactly the way that the fucking British operate. No matter how independent we see ourselves here in the United States of America, we love the boot, okay? We do. We do. And the British openly love the boot. They suck and fuck the boot. And here in America, we do it as well. It's like, it's the same exact attitude of like not wanting any change and not wanting to change society for the better and wanting things to remain the same with the hopes that like maybe you individually here in America can one day become the oppressing bourgeois class as well, which will, of course, in many instances never happen for you, but it doesn't matter. Just live with that dream.
One recruiter for the club will later describe it during Johnson's time, saying Bullingdon members
found it amusing if people were intimidated or frightened by their behaviour. I remember them walking down a street in Oxford in their tails, chanting "Buller, Buller," and smashing bottles along the way just to cow people. Boris was one of the big beasts of the club. He was up for anything. They treated certain types of people with absolute disdain and referred to them as plebs.
1984. Sixth former Damien Furness visits Johnson's Oxford College for his entrance interview. Many years later, he will relate what happened.
I was staying the night and had an evening to kill in the college bar. Johnson was propping it up with his coterie of acolytes, whose only apparent role in life was to laugh at his jokes. In the course of my pint, I felt obliged to finish. He mocked my speech impediment, my accent, my school, my dress sense, my haircut, my background, my father's work as a farm.
I think the funniest part about it is that Boris Johnson had the gall, the audacity to make fun of someone else's haircut. Now, a lot of you make fun of me and say like, oh, you look like a water buffalo, okay? Or whatever the fuck. But my lord, was Boris's fucking haircut always bad. Like, he's never had a good hair era. At least I had my good hair era, you know?
Worker and garage proprietor, and my prospects in the scholarship interview I was there for. His only motivation was to amuse his posh boy mates.
1987. At the age of 23, Johnson marries the daughter of a millionaire art historian. Fresh out of university and aided by family connections, he lands a traineeship at the Times newspaper. 1988. Johnson is sacked as a trainee at the Times for making up a quote on his first front-page story. 1990. Johnson conspires with his Bullingdon Club friend Darius Guppy to have a fellow journalist assaulted. The two discuss in detail how badly assaulted the man will be, including cracked ribs and black eyes, before Johnson agrees to supply the journalist's address for the attack to be carried out.
Boris, have you got this number? How badly are you going to hurt this guy? Okay, let me explain this. You will not be put into intensive care or anything like that. Okay, Derry, I said I'll do it. Don't worry.
The conspiracy goes nowhere, and no attack happens. 1991. According to a friend of Johnson's wife, an incident occurs in which Johnson displays his frightening temper, after which his wife turns up at the friend's flat in Brussels looking shocked, scared and on the brink of tears. The marriage soon deteriorates as Johnson begins an affair with a barrister. 1993. Johnson gets his barrister girlfriend pregnant and is soon divorced for the first time. 1994. He is now a columnist for The Telegraph and The Spectator magazine.
By the way, yeah, he couldn't cut it in the Times. And in The Spectator magazine, Boris Johnson wrote a fuckload of incredibly racist bullshit, for the record, including but not limited to calling Muslim women. What did he famously call them? I mean, he's like defended blackface, called Muslim women letterboxes. I mean, just really just a horrible, horrible monster for the most part.
His columns include racially charged invectives such as slamming Nelson Mandela for the, quote, tyranny of black majority rule in post-apartheid South Africa, and describing Chinese workers as, quote, puffing coolies. 1995, he describes the children of single mothers as, quote, ill-raised, ignorant, aggressive and illegitimate, saying it is, quote, outrageous that married couples should pay for the single mother's desire to procreate independently of men.
You know, regular fucking conservative shit. Like, they have the, you know, this is the British version of that, by the way. This is exactly what you hear from conservatives out here, you know what I mean? This is it.
In the same piece, he dismisses working class men as, quote, likely to be drunk, criminal, aimless, feckless and hopeless. 1998, delighting in the resignation of gay cabinet minister Peter Mandelson for accepting an undisclosed loan from a friend, Johnson describes the gay community as, quote, tank-topped bumboys. 1999, Johnson is made editor of The Spectator magazine, promising owner Conrad Black he will not stand to be an MP. 2000, Johnson begins a relationship with one of his employees. He promises...
By the way, this dude fucked a lot, which is really interesting. You know how when you watch, like, you know, French cinema, you're like, wow, they always use like super ugly people as you know, famous characters in these roles, you know what I mean? And it's the same as it is in the UK, I guess, where like homie just literally looks hard to look at. Like Ted Cruz would be a fucking UK 7, you know what I mean? It's wild that he fucked this much. It is absolutely fucking wild, okay? I don't know what the fuck is going on, but they need to shut the island down and figure out what the hell is going on. Do you understand? I mean, this dude fucked like a lot, dude.
Promises her that he will leave his wife to marry her. He does not leave his wife. 2001, breaking his promise to the owner of The Spectator, Johnson stands to be an MP. He now promises voters in Henley that if they vote for him, he will step down as editor of The Spectator. That June, he becomes MP for Henley. He does not step down as editor of The Spectator. In a book he writes during the election campaign, Johnson compares equal marriage to a union between 3 men and a dog. 2000.
Wow, incredible. Was he perhaps writing a dissent in the was he Boris Johnson, or was he actually the United States Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia? For those of you who don't know, that was an actual Supreme Court argument from Antonin Scalia, rest in piss. He literally wrote pretty much that. He was like, what's next? The slippery slope? We let two men get married? What's next? A man and a dog? Likening gay marriage to bestiality. That was a Supreme Court of the United States. Like, that was one of my first things that I read in my constitutional law class that made me go, oh. And I think a lot of people don't have this kind of attitude, but like that was one of the first instances where I was like, oh, this is all bullshit. Like when I read that, I was like, oh, these guys are just fucking, they're just throwing shit at a fucking board, seeing what sticks. Like that literally, once I read the slippery slope fallacy of like gay marriage would open up the door to a man marrying a dog, I was like, oh my God, I will never take this seriously ever again. I will literally never look to the United States Supreme Court and go, that's an institution that deserves to be protected. Straight up. From that moment on, I was like, oh no, this whole notion of like, you know, reading and interpreting the Supreme Court, interpreting the fucking Constitution as anything but a living, breathing document is a silly one. That's when I was like, yeah, no, these guys are completely nonsense. They're doing nonsense.
2002, writing in The Spectator, Johnson defends British colonialism in Africa, saying, the problem is not that we were once in charge, but that we are not in charge anymore. Left to their own devices, the natives would rely on nothing but the instant carbohydrate gratification of the plantain. Meanwhile, in the
Dude, you're fat. You know what I mean? Like, what's up? You're like a fat shithead. You don't know how to fucking raise anything yourself personally, and then you turn around and like make fun of the natives and say they're like barbaric or whatever. At least they're fucking jacked. That's one. And two, I need to stress something here, okay? The lack of self-awareness in Boris Johnson's commentary as a man who is quite literally a deadbeat dad, okay? We do not know how many children he has. How many children does Boris Johnson have? We don't know. Could be 6, could be 10. He literally piped non-fucking stop and would routinely cheat on his wives, as we saw, okay? Is it 6? Is it 7? Is it 10? And then he would turn around and write articles about, like, single mothers being whores. Like, dog, what are you doing? What are you doing? You can't be out there fucking, you know, spreading semen like that and then be like, oh, man, single mothers, they create malcontent children. It's like, dude, yeah, your children, you fucking idiot.
Telegraph, he describes black Africans as, quote, flag-waving pickaninnies with watermelon smiles.
Bro, how wild is that? Like, a guy who wrote that actually is the prime minister. Like, yeah. I mean, I've covered Boris. It's not surprising to me. I've covered Boris Johnson for many, many years. He is of Ottoman descent. You know, he's doing what I'm doing in America, but he's doing that in England. Like, we're taking over the country. Me, Dr. Oz, Boris Johnson, and Escantad, you know. Yo, I think he's racist, yeah. Fellas, this Boris guy may not have the best ideas.
2003, Johnson is made vice chair of the Conservative Party.
I always knew you were a racist fuckhead. Wait, what? Me?
And Shadow Arts Minister. 2004, rumours circulate that Johnson has got one of his employees pregnant, resulting in her having an abortion. Johnson slams the suggestion as, quote, complete balderdash and an inverted pyramid of piffle, and assures Conservative Party leader Michael Howard that the claim is untrue. In reality, the rumours are entirely true. Johnson is sacked from his position as Tory vice chair.
Oh, when I say I'm doing the same thing as Boris Johnson, I meant like overtaking the American government from within to do fifth column shit.
And Shadow Minister for lying to the party leader.
As a Turk.
2005, Johnson steps down as editor of The Spectator. Advising his successor on how to deal with a senior female colleague, he says, just pat her on the bottom and send her on her way.
This is a little too racist for me, bro. You're taking it too lightly. I'm not taking it too lightly. I've covered this a million times over, and it doesn't, at this point, I'm unfazed by it. Because, you want to know why? Because the British people didn't give a fuck. And actually, the racist piece of shit British media, for the most part, that's like absolutely fucking Tory-backed and nonsense themselves, literally completely avoided this side of the reality and hyper-focused on, you know, Jeremy Corbyn and how Corbyn wanted to, like, murder every Jewish person or something because he said Palestinians are human beings. You remember that happening? Remember when that happened? That was really cool. That was very cool when the British media also were way more focused on a man like Corbyn who has dedicated his entire fucking life to fighting against injustices, fighting against apartheid, fighting against injustices, fighting for the marginalized people, working class background. They fucking destroyed that man, dude, because he was too good. Okay? Smeared him nonstop, destroyed him with fucking accusations that he was anti-Semitic. And those accusations were so powerful that, like, a gigantic chunk of the Jewish population in England unironically were, like, contemplating leaving the country or some shit if Corbyn won. Like, literally, they created mass fucking hysteria in the country. Awful nonsense, dude. And then the very same people, for the record, the very same people that did that in the UK, then came to America and started Democratic Majority for Israel, okay? The same fucking people that have ties to the exact same smear machine in the UK came to America and launched a similar operation. Such a complicated operation that, like, of course, this is the UK, by the way. Of course, there's a fuckload of anti-Semitism in the kingdom, obviously, okay? And there was anti-Semitism within the Labour Party. Half the anti-Semitism within the Labour Party was actually coming from people that were trying to tank the Labour Party from within so they could reinstitute the neoliberal Labour, which is now in power. So, you know, shouts out to Keir. Great stuff. I pipe nonstop. The other guy might possibly hate Jews. Which one are you voting for? Wait, what? Hysteria is a bit of an over-exaggeration. You think it wasn't hysterical? You think that people and their attitude towards Corbyn, because everything that was in the media about Corbyn was about how much of an anti-Semite he was and how much anti-Semitism was happening in the fucking Labour Party at the same time when, like, the Tories were literally putting up a fucking statue for notorious anti-Semite Hitler supporter, first ever female MP. What the fuck's her face? God damn it. Like, they literally were like putting up a fucking statue of a person who said Hitler had some good ideas about the fucking Jews. Well, yeah, Nancy Astor. Thank you. Exactly. No, not Margaret Thatcher. No, Nancy Astor. They unveiled a Nancy Astor fucking statue while the media was like, yeah, no, we need to focus on Corbyn being a fucking being an anti-Semite. It's like, bro, are you kidding me? Or first MP, not prime minister. I said MP. First female MP. I said first female MP, Nancy Astor, who straight up said Hitler had good ideas about the Jews. Like, straight up. Just, there's no other way to, like, parse through her words, okay? I said MP. Corbyn also had some other difficulties within his own party, obviously, with the Brexit vote and whatnot. But ultimately, the main reason why he was fucking destroyed was because of the calculated hatchet job smear campaign that you saw from the British news that completely took away from him building a cohesive strategy, a cohesive narrative around his platform, around his campaign, in the same way that he was able to do so in the first fucking run, where he saw more success. And they basically undermined him. They handicapped him by every single time he opened up his mouth. They were like, "You're an anti-Semite. How do you respond? You're an anti-Semite. How do you respond?" They did a really, really good job. Okay. And his party played along with it as well. No, his party played along with it as well. Internally, they 100% were doing the same shit that the media was doing. Internally, they kept saying, like, you know, Corbyn there is anti-Semitism in the Labour. There's anti-Semitism in the Labour. They held up reports. They actually fucking refused to investigate certain shit. Like, the party internally fucked him over as well. The Brits in the chat saying this isn't how they remember it. Must have been living on the moon or some shit. Yeah, no, it's wild. Maybe it's because I just, like, was following from afar and didn't actually. What is this? Someone from the UK here? That's not how this was at all. Corbyn was a knob as a UK citizen. This is not what I recall happening. Yeah, dude, because you're probably a fucking liberal piece of shit who likes Keir Starmer and loves NATO and loves fucking all this other shit, okay? That's why. If you can't even fucking defend the bottom of the barrel, which Corbyn is, just a good guy, okay? Just a overwhelmingly good guy. Same with Bernie Sanders. If you can't even fucking defend Corbyn, if you can't comprehend the smear machine that destroyed him, okay? I don't know what to tell you. Like, why are you a leftist, dude? Why do you call yourself a leftist? Maybe you're not. It was fucking disgusting. They completely destroyed any opportunity he had to, like, fucking put together a cohesive message, because everything revolved around his anti-Semitism. If anyone believes Jeremy's an anti-Semite, you're probably a Nazi. I mean, yeah. People still believe that. People still unironically believe that. Remember when they were like, oh, they also did the whole, like, Corbyn lives in a really fucking rich area too. Remember that? They did that to him too. They were like, wow, look at this. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Jeremy Corbyn's son profits from a $150 a night Airbnb flat amid labor landlord crackdown. Jeremy Corbyn, where is his house? Corbyn's bro is literal batshit though. Yeah, I mean he is, but that's not his fault. The fuck do you mean? Yes, Corbyn's brother is fucking a psychotic anti-vaxxer and shit. But what does that have to do with him? Do you vote for the entire family of a person? Like, are you out of your fucking mind? Yeah, I know his brother's crazy. I recognize that. They said he didn't look sad enough at Remembrance Sunday. I think that Jezza not taking a firm stance on Brexit certainly didn't help his cause either, although the smear campaign was very prominent. No, I agree. I fucking opened that. I openly mentioned that. Northern English here. We don't like the Queen up here. A lot of us like Corbyn. Don't compare the North to the South. We aren't the same. They fucking said he was anti-Semitic. They said he was anti-Semitic because he said Jeffrey Epstein instead of Epstein. That's what they said. They said it was anti-Semitic for him to say Epstein instead of Epstein. Oh, here it is. Was it the nuisance neighbours? Terraced house next door to Jeremy Corbyn's Islington home is on sale, but at 925,000 quid. Only a real champagne socialist could afford it. The Labour leader has criticised the Tory government for the rising cost of housing in the country, but Mr Corbyn's North London neighbourhood is hardly bursting with affordable accommodation. This property, next door to his own home, is on the market for an eye-watering asking price of 925,000. This is his fucking house, dude. Hey, maybe, does that sound familiar, by the way, guys? Does that sound familiar? Maybe many of the friends of the show will recognize this kind of line of attack. Bernie Sanders, 3 homes. Jeremy Corbyn, look at how expensive and lavish his lifestyle is. It doesn't matter. Your lifestyle does not have to actually be fucking lavish. Look at the house. This house is $1 million, right? The asking price of this fucking house is $1 million. When Jeremy Corbyn says housing prices are fucking insane. Housing prices are fucking insane. This is what he's talking about, okay? Jeremy Corbyn suggests he could scrap Britain's nuclear weapons as the SNP demands he gets rid of Trident missiles to win its backing in a government coalition. So yeah. So remember, the moment that you get fucking whenever you here it is. The Times reliably informs that Jeremy Corbyn rides a Chairman Mao style bicycle, also known as a bicycle. The new Labour leader threatened himself to a black cab at his home yesterday, abandoning the Chairman Mao-style bicycle his neighbours always see him riding. Other than that, Jeremy Corbyn treated much of the weekend like any other. He made a trip to Parliament Square to make a speech at a rally in support of refugees and attended a constituency event at a graveyard. In between, does Jeremy Corbyn love the dead? Does he want everyone to die? Mao-style, landlord aside. Why was he at a graveyard? Possibly thinking about all the landlords that could be murdered. So, I mean, they were doing this. They did this, and they did it successfully. And I mean, these are like little bits and pieces of like the kind of mass campaign that mass smear campaign that fucking destroyed everything. Yeah, there it is. Jeremy Corbyn accused of anti-Semitism for the pronunciation of Epstein's name. And it never ended. Jeremy Corbyn's most loyal supporters are more likely to be anti-Semitic than those of other party leaders, YouGov poll reveals. Bullshit. Fucking bullshit. Anyway, so yeah. And then this guy won as a consequence of that.
2008, Johnson becomes Mayor of London. 2009, he fathers a child with an unpaid advisor to City Hall. 2013, the Court of Appeal throws out an injunction that has until now prevented...
Like, the amount of shit that reactionaries can get away with is incredible, dude. Incredible. Like, this man has already fathered, like, 11 children at this point, okay? He's, like, routinely fucking milking funds and, like, giving it to his friends in every position of power. He's a racist piece of shit. None of that matters. But, hey, it's actually Corbyn that's the fucking... It's actually Corbyn that's the problem. It's actually Corbyn that's the problem. He's an anti-Semite. We got to work on that. We got to work on that.
Johnson being named as the father of the child. 3 judges rule that the public has a right to know about Johnson's, quote, reckless behaviour. By now, Johnson is having an affair with an American technology entrepreneur. Her company will receive £26,000 of public money while Johnson is mayor. She will later receive a £100,000 government grant intended for UK operating businesses, even after relocating to California the previous year. 2014, Johnson denies at least 17 times that he will stand as an MP while still in post as Mayor of London. 2015, Johnson stands as an MP while still in post as Mayor of London. 2016, hedging his bets, Johnson drafts 2 Brexit articles, one pro-Leave and the other pro-Remain. In his pro-Remain article, Johnson says the UK should remain, quote, intimately engaged in the EU, and that Brexit could cause an economic shock, the diminishing of Britain on the world stage, and the breakup of the Union. 2 days later, Johnson announces he will be campaigning for Vote Leave. On June 23rd, Britain votes to leave the EU. Prime Minister David Cameron resigns. Johnson is the leading figure to replace him, but his leadership campaign soon implodes when his own campaign manager, Michael Gove, says that Johnson is, quote, not capable of leading the country. Instead, Cameron is succeeded by Theresa May. She makes Johnson Foreign Secretary. 2017, Johnson fails to impress in the role, making a series of dangerous gaffes. Most notably, he significantly undermines the legal case of Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe, a British Iranian held in Iran on charges of espionage. It will be a further 5 years before she is finally released. 2018, Johnson resigns as Foreign Secretary and returns to his £250,000 a year job.
How can someone fail upwards so much? Be a fucking wealthy aristocrat, okay? And also work on the side of, like, uplifting the same oppressive hierarchies. That's it. That's why it's so fucking funny whenever dumbasses are like, dude, Hasan, you're such a grifter, you're such a grifter. Dude, if I was a grifter, I would just be a conservative. Like, it is literally the easiest, cushiest fucking thing on the planet, you idiot. Do you understand? Like, wealthy people love being defended, okay? They will do everything. They love people who go out and say, no, the rich aren't the problem, actually. Being a conservative mouthpiece is easy for numerous reasons, but it's definitely a financially incredibly viable option. Pay you to defend them. Yeah, of course. Nah, you just found a good niche. Yeah, totally, dude. I did. You know, that's why. By the way, I love when 2-month subscribers are saying this. Dude, I found a good niche for what, the past 10 years? Like, you know what I mean? I've been just doing this niche for the past 10 years, getting fucking owned into oblivion over and over again. And it's such a good niche that there are so many viable examples of, like, leftists who are super successful and financially successful, and not, like, literally a handful of people. I know that person is joking, but that is a very real thing that people say all the time.
As a columnist for the Daily Telegraph. He's soon using his column to label women who wear burqas as, quote, letterboxes. His brother Leo, who's married to a Muslim, slams Johnson for his, quote, bigotry. In the week following his outburst, Islamophobic incidents increase across the UK by almost 400%. Almost half of all reported in-person abuse directly references Boris Johnson or the language he used. Johnson is now having an affair with Carrie Symonds, a former communications director for the Conservative Party. Johnson and his wife will soon separate. 2019, police are called to Symonds' South London flat after reports of a serious altercation. Neighbours report hearing a woman screaming, followed by slamming and banging. Symonds is reportedly heard screaming at Johnson to, quote, "get off me and get out of my flat." Symonds will soon be expecting a baby. It is the 5th time as a married man that Johnson has made another woman, who isn't his wife, pregnant.
How fucking nuts is that, dude? Tabloid that loves palace intrigue and shit like that totally avoided Boris Johnson. Like, didn't actually talk about the million affairs that he's had. How nuts. How bananas, dude. Yeah, me. I've been a leftist for more than 10 years, and I'm also a journalist and also very successful. Not.
On the 19th of July, following an internal Conservative Party coup against Theresa May, Johnson fulfills his lifetime ambition and becomes Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Everything in this film was known before the Tory Party made him Prime Minister. His tenure has been an administrative and a moral failure. The question now is, what will Conservative MPs do about it?
And, I mean, this is how it goes, man. This is how it fucking goes. Part of the reason why, you know, people didn't pay attention to this and didn't care about it is because, again, we are like moths, okay? We look at we get like a light source and we lose our fucking minds. And ultimately, even if he gets fucking voted out, or even if he doesn't get voted out and ultimately is forced to resign or whatever because he didn't get enough of a percentage of confidence from his own party, it still doesn't matter. Revealed how Labour leader's joyless approach to life and failure to recognize women's feelings drove his first wife away before he started a year-long affair with Diane Abbott. Wow. Thank God they covered this shit, dude. Meanwhile, Boris Johnson's on like his 8th fucking affair in his relationship. This person, like, yeah, this person was so fucking hyper-focused on his own goddamn work that, like, they didn't... He had a normal divorce and then had a normal affair. Like, normal relationship. But that's considered an affair. Meanwhile, fucking Boris Johnson is, like, literally piping. This is on the day of remembrance, upright after laying Poppy, followed by a 10-degree dip. They literally calculated his dip in the fucking newspaper to say he didn't bow on Remembrance Day, dude. So when I say the media was fucking psychotic about Corbyn and like attacked him relentlessly for anything and everything, and obviously, like, I'm not comparing my personal fucking I'm not comparing the impact that I have to any fucking viable leftist movement to what he has done, because he's an actual politician. He's been an activist his whole life. He's done a fuckload, okay? I'm just a goddamn dumbass Twitch streamer, okay? And I don't do shit. But understand that, like, it's not all that different. It's not all that fucking weird. When you are a leftist, you get fucked. You get ass fucked on a daily fucking basis. There is no solidarity. There's no coalition building. There's even the left is looking out to fuck you and out left you, okay, and say like, oh well, you know, his position is untenable, unmanageable on this, that, whatever. There is no understanding of like solidarity there. It's just not. BBC rejects complaints over Jeremy Corbyn's Russian hat. The BBC has dismissed complaints that news site altered a photo of Jeremy Corbyn to make him look more Russian. The BBC actually photoshopped Jeremy Corbyn's hat to make it look more Russian with a smear on news site. Let that sink in. Is it Johnson's policies or personality you're upset with? No, of course his policies are fucking terrible too. I mean, he talked about potentially fucking, it's both. I hate him. Victory. He talked about potentially privatizing the NHS. The Tory government has underfunded the NHS for many, many years, okay? 9 years of fucking austerity. And then he ran on actually putting, and then they ran on actually like, you know, putting more funding into the NHS. That's what Boris Johnson ran on.
Would be the best possible thing for the safety of the Jewish community internationally. My name is David Graeber. I'm an anthropologist. I'm a Jewish family originally from New York. I've been living in this country for about 12 years now. I'm making an appeal. Stop this. Please, for the sake of my safety, fanning the flames is making things dangerous.
Dude, my favorite thing is when Nazis come in here, but because they're so devoid of any sort of meaningful power, that the best thing that they can do is rope yourself, you fucking Turkish roach. Like, he sat in here, okay, highlighted his fucking comments. He highlighted his fucking comments. Like, he sat in here, collected enough points so he could fucking highlight his comments, okay? And then wrote 1488. Like, that's it. That's the Nazi. That is the American Nazi movement, okay? That's where we're at now. Good shit, brother. You really fucking killed it. Like, how pathetically fucking desperate is that, dude? That's awesome. You're killing it, dude. You're killing it, the Big Shoe 7110. Imagine sitting around in the chat of a fucking streamer you despise, okay, who you consider to be genetically inferior to you, despite the fact that we both know that's not the case, okay? Get more mad moment after moment, highlight enough, get enough fucking points accrued in the channel by spending time in here, waiting for your opportunity to fucking chime in, just so you can say, rope yourself, you fucking Turkish roach, and be made a mockery of. Motherfucker said highlight Hitler. Yeah. Thank you for your contributions in the chat. Get IP banned, bitch.
Actually threatens Jews, the people who actually want to kill us, are Nazis.
Jews will not replace us!
Fascism is on the rise.
This is literally an echo chamber. Yes, this is an echo chamber if you consider anything to not have Nazis in it to be an echo chamber. You're not wrong. Yes. There are plenty of people who are conservative who I pull all the time and hear their perspective all the time. But yeah, no, there are no Nazis allowed. Yes. Do you have a better interesting approach than that? Okay, no, there you go. This is absolutely an echo chamber. You can't even criticize more without getting banned by a streamer. Yeah, no, I mean, if you consider that to be an echo chamber, then yes, this is an echo chamber. Yeah, we don't allow Nazis in here. We don't allow Nazis in here. We don't allow transphobic people in here. We don't allow racist people in here. You know, sorry.
Italian police have uncovered a plot to form a new Nazi party.
If Corbyn is crushed, those are the guys who are going to profit from it, the extreme right. People who are actually showing up with automatic weapons at synagogues trying to murder us are the guys who are inspired by Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon is a friend of Boris Johnson. That's the politics. And these guys mobilize. They're coming after us. And who's going to be standing up against them? I mean, we all know from history. The cops tend to disappear when those guys hit the streets. The guys who are standing up for us are the Corbynites. People are acting like Momentum is some kind of anti-Semitic organization. I know the founders of Momentum. There's 4 of them. 3 of them were Jewish. Corbyn's speechwriter is Jewish. If you really want to fight anti-Semitism, you should do exactly what the Corbyn people did do in the Labour Party, is create a forum where everybody can say whatever they want, and some people are going to say anti-Semitic stuff because, let's face it, you know, this is an anti-Semitic society. This stuff is everywhere. It's only if you bring it out that you can then address it. The Corbyn people, whatever else you can say about them, have inspired young people to imagine that society could be different than it is today. It's stupid to cry wolf when there are real wolves baying at the door, especially when the people you're crying wolf against are the guys who are most likely to defend us when the wolves show up. That's going to be a disaster for Jewish people.
Yeah. David Graeber is an American anthropologist who unfortunately passed away 2 years ago. I was about to say last year, but he passed away in September 2020. And you know, he was awesome. He was a great anarchist and did a lot of great work. His most famous work, I would say, probably is Bullshit Jobs. Something that I reference every now and then. Anti-Semitic chat? What do you mean, anti-Semitic chat? Why are you saying anti-Semitic chat? Anyway, so yeah, he's great. He's a great dude. The only anarchist you like? Dude, I love Noam Chomsky too. There's plenty of fucking anarchists I like, and plenty of anarchist works I reference. It's just like, it's the annoying... No, here's what I don't like, okay? People who are just rad libs who think that their politics are going to be fucking radical if they just claim to be anarchists while still basically saying the exact same shit that like any average Democrat believes in, okay? Or people who are just like really fucking distorted and anti-progress and have like a worldview that is otherwise perfectionist, that gets in the way of actual progress happening, and like people exhausting the current electoral machinations of the state. Okay,